Hello, and welcome back, Ghouls and Goyles. Today I'm here behind the trends, as usual, with my first ever Himi Jelly Gouache palette. I believe this is a 24 color palette that you get off of Amazon for roughly $32. Don't judge me for not getting it sooner. I am that basic bitch level of poor, so $32 is a lot. This palette came with a perfectly sized mixing tray and 3 brushes from the Himi brand. They're a little on the big side for what I normally work in, but they have a good amount of spring to them and will work well for most people's application of gouache, watercolor, and acrylic paints. Number 8 is a medium-wide round brush. Number 6 is a medium square brush. And number 4 is a medium soft pointed brush. For the painting today, I'll be using number 8, but I can see all of them being useful in the future for larger projects. Now for the piece of resistance. Opening all 24 of these little jelly cups. Now that I've gotten all of these opened and color coordinated, I'm ready to start telling you about the project I'm working on today. This is Nymphadora. She is my newest D&D character within a new campaign I am playing with friends. We've only gone through one session, but I'm absolutely in love with her character and design. To get the basics out of the way, she is a water genasi bard from the College of Spirits. If that sounds like mumbo jumbo to you, don't worry, I will explain. Genasi are descendants of a bloodline that is mixed with a genie. Genasi can be first generation or many generations down the line. There are 4 types of genasi that match each of the elements of nature. Most people probably know what a bard is, but the College of Spirits is a fairly new subclass. The College of Spirits allows a bard to gain knowledge and power through past spirits of the world. They're practiced with a Taroka deck, a crystal ball, or bones. Depending on the type of spirit they connect with, they will also gain different spells to cast through their practice. Okay, hopefully that covers the basics. Now onto the juicier aspects of this character. As a water genasi, Nymphadora has gained some interesting likeness to her underwater friends. However, her axolotl form came from more than just genetics. When her dwarven mother, Desma, was giving birth to her, she reached out to the Fae to help her, as she had been abandoned by her druid clan. In this, she also offered what she could to the Fae in exchange for their help. She didn't know what she was offering, though. The main Fae that helped wished to have a more humanoid likeness to draw more people to him. He exchanged Nymphadora's original visage for his own, and so when Desma gave birth to the child, she thought that her daughter had been disfigured. However, Desma still loved her daughter, and in spite of what she had been tricked into giving, she taught Nymphadora at an early age how to be charming. Nymphadora quickly caught on to these ideals and excelled at them so much that she ended up attending one of the great bard colleges in her final studies. As you guys could probably guess from my Baldur's Gate playthrough, part 1, I adore odd characters. I adore really strange backgrounds that, give a lot of story to a character. So I find myself drawn a lot to like the drow, to half-elves because of their split bloodline. I am absolutely addicted to character creation, and I've always been this way. So even though Nymphadora is my newest character, I've already come up with like 3 more, and I struggle to decide whether or not they're worth drawing because I only stick to one for so long. At least other than my comic book. My comic book is like a D&D character that turned into a storyline that was so good that I was like, I have to actually write this. There's something so beautiful and strong about Aniva's story that I really wanted to actually write it out fully and not just act it out in a game. And her story starts so young that I felt like it was something that wouldn't really be playable in a D&D campaign. Yeah, so I'm addicted to character creation. Obviously, if you've watched the Baldur's Gate playthrough part 1, you know Eraldith is my Seldarine drow. You've seen Nymphadora now, and you've likely seen Aniva if you've watched any of my older content. Aniva is a tiefling, and she is second from her demon lineage. Like, she's not that far off. The reason that the series is called Harkoth's Blood is because her father's name is Harkoth. And Harkoth is a half-demon, and he is incredibly evil and strong, and he has all these children that are all within like a couple years of each other, all to different women. The story is about all of the children, but Aniva is the eldest, and as the eldest, she decides where her siblings and her are gonna go. Obviously, not all of her siblings are going to feel the same, but she is the one who leads the tyranny against her father and the demons above them. I really liked this storyline because it was something that gave a child power in a situation that felt so helpless. And it reflects a lot of my own childhood. There's a lot of religious indoctrination very early on in the Harkoth children's story. All of them from a very early age are taught to like serve a certain Lord of Hell, and like they're supposed to be very devoted to him. I want people to read between the lines when they read my work, but I also want to hint at what is actually going on in the real world, where people are deceived. Religious trauma does happen. It's more common than you think because there are a lot of kids that grow up in very toxic homes in a toxic Christian community. There can be good Christians, and don't get me wrong, but for the most part, the entire way that this society is brought up is so detrimental to free thought and being your own person and being someone who makes their own decisions and grows up and like discovers themselves. Religion can destroy that for you. And so Aniva's story is kind of about breaking that, getting away from the religious trauma of her family, them all serving a demon so that it's more obvious how evil it is, because, you know, Christians are not going to believe that their God is evil, and I don't blame them for that. They've been brainwashed for a long time. But that is what's happening. You're being deceived. You're willingly participating in being deceived. And that destroys you as a person. They make you rely on others of your religion. They force you into these situations that you may not be comfortable in. And they force these ideals on you that may not correlate with your own. It takes someone strong to realize those things about a religion and go, I'm not participating anymore. Someone has to be very strong or have someone in their life that shines a light on that. And for me, my husband was that person. He shone a light on how evil and dark Christianity could be, and how terrifyingly horrible it was to my mental health. So I have CPTSD, and I also have a terrible anxiety disorder from that. Most of my anxiety disorder is based around death anxiety. And death anxiety tends to come from religion because of your certainty in what happens after death and your constant pondering of what happens after death. I remember being preached to as a child and told that, like, death is something that kids don't think about enough, and, like, I bet none of you think about death on a daily basis. And I was like, no, I do. I think about it, like, every day, like, a scary amount, where constantly I'm looking around a room or a situation and I go, how could I die here? And it became an obsession, a really dark obsession. And it just pushed me and pushed me and pushed me into this corner of my brain where I was constantly terrified. And that, alongside the neglect and the trauma from just being in a religious home all the time, made it very difficult for me to find myself. So Aniva is my story, but also not my story. She instead, while most of her family is part demon or part of this bloodline, her mother is not. Her mother is a human. Her mother knows the evils of this family, and she knew that Aniva was going to be pushed down this path, right? But she decided that she wasn't going to let her daughter be forced into this situation. And so as soon as we start in this storyline and basically Aniva is baptized, her mother takes action and goes, no, I'm not going to let you fall for this. I'm going to take you out of this situation. I'm going to help you repair. I'm going to give you all my strength, all of my courage. I'm going to pour it into you and hope that you find the truth about yourself and about the world. There are things that I wish that my own family could have done for me, but instead it came from my husband, and I really thank him for that. I hope that Aniva's story brings light to other people's trauma and other people's situations, and they are able to wake up and realize, wow, I've been brainwashed for so long, and I've just let myself be put in that situation, and I didn't realize because I was a child, or I was very young and my mind wasn't fully made up on anything, and I was forced into believing these things. And there's a lot of growth that can happen from that. So I really hope that Aniva's story can help change other people's minds and open them up to the realities of those situations. But yeah. Anyways, sorry to get so deep in this just painting with me and review. I really love the gouache. It works really well. I really like it for for layering in my paintings. I've been using it a lot more since I initially made this piece. Obviously, I still enjoy it. It's much thicker than watercolor, as you could probably tell from jelly cups. So it's a little bit of a weird consistency to work with because it's not as thin as acrylic, but it has better coverage than acrylic, and it's more water-based, so it doesn't become weird and greasy and broken up like acrylic does when you mix it with water. So anyways, I really liked the jelly gouache. I hope you enjoyed I hope you enjoyed this speed painting. I'm so sorry for getting too deep if it was too deep. But anyways, stay safe out there, and I will see you guys hopefully soon.